Hey guys, it's Jeff, the Lazy Iowan, and it's springtime, so you know what that means? It's time to mow your grass. But you should always service your equipment before you do that. My girlfriend happened to tell me that her lawnmower hadn't been serviced in, she said, probably ever. So there's that. We're going to take care of that for her and make it so that it's a little bit more efficient and will last a lot longer. In the name of self-reliance though, I'm going to be teaching you how to do a complete tune-up on it. So we're going to be changing the oil, we're going to be washing the air filter, we're going to be changing a spark plug, and we're going to be sharpening the lawnmower blade. So this thing's going to run like it's brand new when it's finished, so let me show you what you need. Okay, so the tools that you're going to need is a socket set. It doesn't have to be near as big as this. We literally just have to undo the spark plug and undo the blade when we go to sharpen it. We've got some gloves over here. We've got a drill. We've got an oil pan. We've got a sharpening and balancing kit for a mower blade. Got a spark plug, the right spark plug. We've got some SAE 30 oil and a sandwich bag. You'll see what that's for later. And a bucket of Dawn and water. I use Dawn because if it's good enough for ducks, it's good enough for me. Also, I forgot to mention that you are going to need a funnel. My girlfriend doesn't have one of those, so I am creating one out of a water bottle. We're gonna fill it up like this and literally pour the oil in like that. But if you have a funnel, use a funnel. Okay, so now that that's done and through, I'm gonna link that sharpening kit down in an Amazon affiliates link because it's super cool and it's gonna be super nice to have, and I'll be able to use it on all of my own stuff. And it's probably the easiest, most efficient way to make sure you have a good edge. It doesn't take a file, it doesn't take a grinder or anything like that, and it doesn't take a bench vise, so that's nice. So I like that for just ease of use. But there are many different ways to sharpen a lawnmower blade, and there's going to be somebody out there that's going to say that is the complete wrong way to do it, but that's okay. Anyway, the first step that we have to do is we got to make this little guy run for about 5 minutes. We want to heat the oil up. We want it to get all of that gunk that's been in there for, I think this mower is probably like 4 or 5 years old and hasn't ever had the oil changed. So we want all of that gunk to get broken up and moved around so that it's in the oil, so that when we dump it out, it's going to end up being poured out with all of the oil. So let's do that. Okay, so you can sit here and hold the handle down, or if you have a hair tie, take that hair tie and wrap it around a couple times. Okay, so we are going to change the oil first thing. In order to do that, the number one thing we want to do is we want to remove this spark plug wire right here, because without doing that, it's possible that the mower could fire. And normally I'm super goofy on this channel, but let me tell you, we want to be safe when it comes to this, just because you can really get hurt if a lawnmower fires and you're not expecting it. Ask my grandma how she knows. She lost a piece of her finger because of it. So we unhooked the spark plug down here. Okay, so it's worth noting, I've got my oil pan out, I've got the lid off of it and everything, but I found a divot where it's lower, you can see, than the actual mower here. Reason for that is because this particular mower, its oil fill is right here. We're gonna unscrew that and have to tip it over to get it into here. But before we do that, that's where the sandwich bag comes in. Okay, so I thought I was gonna need a sandwich bag. Turns out I don't. You take this open. Normally, you use the sandwich bag to keep gas from spilling out. It helps seal, but I actually have a seal on my girlfriend's gas cap there. So we're just going to tighten this super tight. If you need this on yours, try it. It can't hurt to seal it off using a sandwich bag so that gas doesn't leak everywhere. Okay, so once again, you can't be too safe. Let's make sure that that spark plug is unhooked. Oh, it is. So now we are going to dump the oil out into our catch pan here. Our oil fill is right here. And actually how we do that is we're going to unscrew this, take this cap out. We won't need it for a little bit. And then we are going to take this and tilt it and dump it into here. We're just gonna tilt this over. And as you can see, this pan's gonna be a little big, so I might end up having to hold this up. We just let all that oil drain out, just like this. Now, I'm not worried about getting any of the grass and stuff that's on this mower in my oil pan, because I'm just gonna use it for fuel. But if you are going to end up taking it someplace, you might want to clean off all of the grass and dirt. So as you can see, that didn't take very long once it's warm. So now we're gonna flip it back over. And notice how none of the gas came out when we did that. Okay, so this is where you take your oil. We're using 30 weight for this. That's what most small engines take. But do some research on your particular lawnmower to find out what kind of oil it needs. This particular model, it does say that it takes 15 ounces of oil. So we're gonna pour 15 ounces of oil into my makeshift funnel here. Okay, so if you're using a half smashed 1 liter bottle, this is about 15 ounces of oil. So we're gonna dump it in. Okay, so I did end up dumping out part of that oil just because I had too much in there to get it to go in smoothly. And now we're going to attempt to pour this in here without making a complete and utter mess. Let's see if you can see how my homemade funnel's working here. So yeah, just pour your oil in. I'm gonna use 2 hands and get this taken care of. So in order to tell if you've made it to the right point, just put your dipstick in, pull it out, and then check where you're at on the marking. As you can see on this, we're right below the fill line where that arrow is. So that'll be perfect for right now. Okay, so we've got the oil finished. As you can tell, my homemade funnel didn't work perfect, but you know what? We kind of cleaned it up. We'll just polish and shine using the oil. But now that that's done, the next thing we want to do, because it's going to take the most amount of time to dry, is to actually do the air filter. So take a look at this. Open our air filter housing. Oh yeah, you can definitely tell this bad boy hasn't been washed in a while. So we're going to want to take this and throw it into our bucket of water that has Dawn in it and go ahead and wash it up. Please hold while I use 2 hands to get all of the gunk out of this little air cleaner. We are going to wring this out. Try to get as much out as possible because we got to wait for this to completely dry. So once you're done, I'm going to go set it in the sun. Literally on top of my fire pit. Okay, so it's chilling over there in the sun. We got to let that completely dry. So let's move on to doing the spark plug. So we need our new spark plug. And then we need a spark plug socket. The small one, this is a 5/8 one for this particular mower. And just a ratchet. Get on here, put it on your spark plug, and just go ahead and remove that spark plug. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, so now that we've got the spark plug out, we can tell that this probably has some wear on it. I'm just gonna go ahead and replace it because you got little crusties growing on there. And this thing hasn't been serviced before, like I said, so let's go ahead and replace it. We've got the exact same spark plug that matches the one that I just removed here. So let's take it out of the packaging. Also, in case it's your first rodeo and you've never done this before, the numbers for the spark plug are labeled on there. So you can see both of these are an RC12YC. So let's get rid of this old one. Boop, just like that. We'll take this bad boy and just thread it in there. So as you can see, it just goes right into this little hole here. Get it started. You can also put the socket on it to get it started too. I like to do it by hand though. Okay, now that we've got it started, I'm just going to take the socket off the ratchet, and so then I'm just going to screw it in using this socket, get it about hand tight, and then I'm going to take my socket and just tighten it just a hair more till it's taut. You don't want to over tighten these things. Okay, now just to recap, we've got the spark plug changed, we've got the wire out of the way, it's not connected. Do not let it connect because we're about to turn this lawnmower over to be able to get to the blades. Now, we've also got the gas tank sealed. Make sure the gas tank is sealed 110%, so that way there will be no gas leaking anywhere. We also change the oil. We'll make sure this oil plug is very, very tight, because this is the direction we are going to tilt it, because we do not want gas to be coming out of the carburetor, which is where the air filter is. So we're going to tilt it towards me, just like I'm about to do. Let me give you a show. All right, so we're just going to grab her, tilt her over, like that. As you can see, which you can't, I guess, but there's no oil or anything spilling anywhere. There's no gas coming out, because we've got to get to this lawnmower blade here. Okay, so as you can see, this lawnmower blade is in definite need of sharpen. Now, how are we going to get that off you wonder? Well, we are going to have to hold pressure on this blade and loosen this nut. So go find the socket that you need to loosen this nut, and then come back to the video. Okay, so this particular nut is 14 millimeter. We're going to use a ratchet and a gloved hand. I have a gloved hand. You can also block this with a piece of wood, but I don't like to risk bending the blade, because that is our worst nightmare. So I'm going to use this gloved hand and just loosen this nut here to take the blade off. Okay guys, so I'm going to use this bucket as a table. Make sure you put safety glasses on, all right? Because your eyesight is worth more than getting a sharp lawnmower blade. We've already got our lawnmower blade sharpener in the drill. Let me bring this up here so you can see. We've got a guide right here, and you will put the blade edge, which you can clearly see which part the blade edge is. It's the sharp part. We're going to set it right in here. Just move it along like that while we're drilling. Now, this could be a little difficult to do so close, which is why I'm going to use the bucket and make sure that I don't damage my lens while I'm doing this. Okay guys, it's worth noting, make sure that you put the stone part against where your blade is. I almost made the mistake and did it the wrong way on accident. Okay, so here we go. Now we're nice and shiny. Check it out. Okay, so this particular kit came with a balancer, because you want your blade to be balanced or else it's going to cause unnecessary vibrations. So we just set this down on here. Let's see how we're looking. Oh yeah, we're not touching over there, and we're not quite touching over there, as you can hear. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit more off this side to be able to balance this blade completely. All right, this piece of concrete isn't completely level, but that is about as good as it's going to get. So now we just got to put that blade back on the lawnmower. You're going to screw this all the way in, and you want to make this sucker tight so that we're ready to go. You want to make sure your mounting holes are there to hold the blade. You want to make sure this is good and tight. Normally they torque these down, but you don't necessarily have to. Just make sure it's tight, because you got to remember this is the thing that's flying around, and you don't want to end up letting that blade go where it can cut you. Let's tip this lawnmower back down where it needs to be. Now, the only thing we have to do is to take care of the air filter, but you can't just put it straight on. Let me show you what you got to do. Okay guys, so this plastic bag is clean on the inside. This air filter, it is completely dry. But you can't put that just straight onto your lawnmower, because you got to have something to be able to catch the dust that you're going to inevitably kick up while you are doing lawnmower things. So we're going to put it in this little plastic bag, Got my homemade funnel with a tiny bit of oil that was left over, and we're just gonna dump it in there. Now you might be like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? This is to oil the filter down so that it doesn't end up getting dust and letting it in. So we just want to oil this down to make sure it's completely saturated. We might even need a little bit more oil, so we're gonna go do that real quick. All right, so I threw a little bit more oil in there. Now I am rubbing it around. I'm gonna take this bad boy out, squeeze it out, make sure there's no oil that comes dripping out. Make sure all of that's done, because we only need it to be moist. We don't need it to be soaking wet. Perfect. Now we've got an oil filter, or an air filter, that is ready to go back on your mower. Okay, now we just need to replace our air filter here. And once we've got that oil bath on, we'll just put it back in where it belongs and put our cover back on. I'm gonna bang it out. We just went to all that trouble oiling that air filter. We don't want anything extra to get in here while we can help it. Put our cover back on. Reconnect our spark plug wire. And let's see if she fires up. All right guys, it's Jeff, the Lazy Iowan. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you so much from the bottom of my heart. Make sure you pick up that sharpening kit from my Amazon link to help support the channel. And while you're at it, hit the like button and subscribe. That'll tell YouTube that this is a great video, and it'll go ahead and send it to more people. I'm also doing a video on how to service a riding mower. I'm gonna do my Club Cadet that I have, and if you wanna watch that, we're gonna place that video right here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Lazy Iowan, out!